Mr. Lars Lokke Rasmussen, former Prime Minister of Denmark, thank you for a wonderful lecture today. They were very inspiring words, and we look forward to hear some more answers from you. And thank you for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
My first question will be, to what extent does the recent surge in support for Eurosceptic parties represent an emerging division or wall in European society?
I don't think it represents any division among countries, but it definitely represents some kind of division among citizens, where perhaps mainly lower educated people, unemployed people, look at Europe as the problem rather than the solution. And for that reason, I think we should enhance the European cooperation, but we should, we should concentrate on the most important questions: how to regain growth by developing the internal market in the energy sector, in the IT sector, and we should perhaps step away from more detailed questions about how many women should be represented on the board on a company or whatever.
I see. Well, following on from this, in recent times, the global financial crisis has deeply affected the Eurozone. Given your experience as former financial minister and the fact that Denmark has retained its own currency, the crown, would you argue that it has impacted on Denmark's economic relations with Europe?
No, actually not, because even though we have, we have stick to the Danish currency, the krone, the economic policy followed in Denmark are strictly linked to the Eurozone. So you could argue that we do what is asked from the Eurozone countries, but we just don't have the currency, and we have a defined exchange rate between the euro and the Danish krone. So in reality, I look at Denmark as not a member of the Eurozone, because definitely we're not a member, but in reality we are following the same instructions as the Eurozone countries.
I see. In your opinion, was the implementation of social democracy in Denmark dependent on a certain specific Danish cultural element?
You could say perhaps a Scandinavian element, because people are talking about the Scandinavian model, and I'm not quite sure if we have a certain Scandinavian model, but if we have, it's about creating a bridge between people as individuals and people as people in the capacity as member of a community. And that's why we have a social security level, which is, compared with other countries, higher. And I think it gives people a sense of security, which enable them to take personal risks. I mean, you can go out, you can try to start your own business, and if you are not successful, someone will take care of you.
I see. Well, in this context, is the Danish welfare society Denmark's strongest asset in terms of cultural diplomacy tools at the world level?
It could be, but then I would also like to mention the energy sector, how we try to make our country more sustainable, using renewable energy on a much higher level than many other countries. So I think we have many assets, we have many things to offer the world community, but we also have definitely our challenges.
Well, is there any Scandinavian ambition to make Europe a strong and large welfare federation?
Well, in the sense that welfare, if you ask me, is under the precondition that we need prosperity. I will echo that, because we definitely need more prosperity in Europe. We need more growth, and that is definitely a precondition if you want to develop a welfare society. But I think that we should accept that there should be, differences between countries. I'm definitely in favor of enhanced cooperation, but I'm also at the same time in favor of each country deciding its own way to go into the future, and I think we should accept some kind of flexibility.
Right. Well, the following question is a bit more amusing. And do you regard the Danish concept of janteloven as an element of cultural diplomacy in terms of creating competition in Scandinavia?
No, I think I look at it as a disadvantage, actually.
I see.
Yeah, it's something we have to work hard to avoid in the future.
I see. Well, to what extent do you believe that the cultural exchange between the Nordic countries and the Southern European countries is possible? A stronger exchange?
I think it is possible, and it's actually what's going on right now. I mean, if I look at the next generation, I mean, I belong to a generation which is a pre-United Europe generation. If I look to when I look at the next generation, they are more globalized. They don't limit their choices of studying to Oslo and Stockholm, but they want to study in Barcelona or Madrid or Paris, and therefore I'm very hopeful for the future, actually.
Well, and in what specific ways could then cultural diplomacy be practiced in order to strengthen relations between Northern and Southern European countries?
I think the youngsters are the most important. I mean, I'm belonging to the past. I'm 50 years, so I think we should invest in the youngsters. We should push them to become global citizens. Of course, they should look at themselves as Danes or Swedish or German or whatever, but at the same time reach out for the rest of the world. And I'm very optimistic about this because when I look at my own kids, for instance, they have a high level of language skills compared to me and my generation. So I think we will see a flowering Europe in the future where people define themselves as national citizens, but at the same time as European citizens.
I see. Well, I think we could end this interview in this positive tone. Mr. Lars Lokke Rasmussen, thank you so much for joining here at ICD, and look forward to have you here in the studio again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.